Good morning and welcome to March 3rd, a very, very special day for all of us here at Greg Johnson Partnerships International and our family at Emblem Health. Today I am releasing, and it's been thanks to all of you, really, because during the first 2 months of 2023, I have been slowly preparing what we are about to release today. And that is a brand new, updated edition of You Are Not Alone. YANA. That's the acronym for it. You Are Not Alone, YANA, the 2023 edition. A number of years ago, and it must be now nearly 10 years ago, I felt that I just needed to put together on tape. We did it, that's how long ago it was, on tape first and then onto the computer, a series that would be basically Caregiving 101. Welcome to the world of family caregiving. Now, as we all know, none of us goes to school to learn about family caregiving. And if there were something that ought to be taught, that certainly is one of them, along with people doing financial literacy and a lot of other things that, in my opinion, would be far more helpful than Algebra 2. I haven't done too much with algebra, but I certainly have done with family caregiving. And I say that respectfully of all the mathematicians and their wonderful work. But there are things we need to know for life, and we simply don't. Now, actually, that also becomes the blessing, because as many of you know, people like Sheila Warnock, wonderful, wonderful work that she has done with Share the Care, Cynthia Burke and Cynthia O'Neill, along with the late Mike Nichols, friends indeed. Many of the organizations that have served the world of family caregiving have really come about because somebody was in a situation and there was no help for the specific need that they were experiencing. And once they had come to a resting point or had balanced off in their caregiving journey, they decided that they had a very special understanding, and I frankly feel a very special calling. And they went about putting into action the tools that others of us could use. Now, as many of you know, when I was blessed, and it was indeed a great blessing, to have the Reverend Dr. Carl Flemister, who was chairman of the foundation at Emblem Health in its former iteration, came to me and said, we're looking to create a program that deals with the silent patients, the too often silent patients, the family caregivers. In healthcare, there had been a lot of focus on, obviously, the care recipient, and there had been a lot of focus on research and on the professional caregivers and their specific needs. But the third leg of that, which you hear me talk about so often, the healthcare stool, that third leg, and we need all three legs for that stool to balance. And that was the leg of the family caregiver. Now, when Carl asked me to do this, now 23 years ago plus, I remember my absolute reaction. Carl was a very, very dear friend, and I had great respect and still do, obviously, for him. And I looked at him and I said, Carl, I don't know anything about insurance. My background is theater and theology. But as a minister, I have buried more caregivers than care recipients. And if there is anything I can do to help alleviate that situation, to turn that around, count me in. Well, 23 years later, I'm still being counted in, and I give great thanks for it. Because together, we have taken the program into our employees, we've taken it into our members, And as many of you who listen to this program regularly know, we've taken it around the world. We were in South Africa. We were in other parts of Africa. We were in India, in Nepal, into Indonesia, where we're still doing much work, and with the 10 ASEAN countries. So it has been an exciting experience. But wherever I go, I'm telling the Emblem Health story of how a health and wellness corporation looked at the dynamic of what healthcare really was about and said, this is a group of people whom we're not focusing on. And I'm very honored that they chose to go to someone who is an interfaith chaplain. Because when we're dealing with the issues that are part of family caregiving, we're talking body, mind, and spirit, and they all come together. So as I continued to give talks when this first opened, and of course we did our play, Caring for Me, Caring for You, and that play I still love and adore, and it's on the Emblem Health website. Just go to Caregiving and you'll see the play. In fact, you'll see the play with an introduction that I did to it. It's a wonderful, wonderful play, and it's something you could use if you're working with a group of people, because many of you are teachers, are social workers, are clergy, are people who are working with, are coaching people in life. And all of these are tools that we've created so that you can help someone else, that you can pass it on. That's very much what we have been doing. Well, this year, I suddenly thought I would really like to redo You Are Not Alone. Now, the first time I did it, and it's on the website, it's on my YouTube channel as well. I did all 8 of them. They were only at that time 8 to 10 minutes long each one. But I did all 8 of them in one afternoon. I just brought along a lot of clothes and kept changing it. I did it at a library within the Marble Collegiate Church. So it's a small world, and it was great fun. And it has proved to be a tool that gets people going. It gets them into the words, into the conversation. And it most of all says to them, you're not alone. You may never have thought you were part of this world, but there's a name for what you're doing. And that is, you are a family caregiver. And there's only one rule to family caregiving, and we all know it. We could say it together. Before I can care for you, I've got to care for myself. That's not selfish. You can't give away what you don't have. So you've got to care for yourself so that you can care for other people. So when the year began, I shared with you on our regular Friday broadcasts that I was going to go back and walk with us, because I think it's very important in a program of this nature. Remember, each year, frankly, every month, new people are becoming caregivers. And people may have listened to a broadcast. People used to at Emblem often take the class that I would give there. And I could tell they were just sort of shopping around saying, this is something I should know about. And then the following year, maybe 2 years later, they'd be back. And all I had to do is look at their face. They were in the middle of family caregiving. There was an enormous amount of fear. There was an enormous amount of concern. And we basically said, let's walk together. You're not alone. And so I attempted in these 2 editions, really, to bring that same message across. Now, this series is longer because we've learned a lot more, and there just seemed more things I wanted to share. So each broadcast is about 25 to 35 minutes long. They vary. But this morning, what is going to happen is I'm going to be putting up this as a video. We're not doing the broadcast live this morning. I'm taping it so that we can put it up, and then right with it will be the link to You Are Not Alone, YANA 2023 edition. Now, let me just remind you, if indeed you would like to contact me at any time, I love to hear from you. And I also love, if you're willing, to hear your caregiving story. I'm working on another project with the stories of caregivers because it's pieces of you and pieces of me that put us all back together. There's nothing like stories. My master told stories. We look at the Bible, they're stories. And that's how a message and education were passed on. So please, if you're willing, send me an email, and it's very simple. It's all small case, Greg Johnson at gjp-international.com. Once again, Greg Johnson at gjp-international.com. Now, you know that on Facebook, I'm Gregory Johnson because you wouldn't be listening to me if you didn't know that already. And please, please share that information. On YouTube, the YouTube channel, which has hundreds now of broadcasts and conversations and programs and interviews that I have been blessed to do over these many years, are all there, and they're there for you and they're there for me so I can go back and remember as well. And I do go back and listen because I very much learn as I listen to some of the people that I've interviewed. I truly appreciate all of that. And our YouTube channel is very simple. It's Family Caregiving with the Rev. And if you don't know how to do that, just Google www.youtube.com. You notice I'm reading it, www.youtube.com, and then search for You Are Family Caregiving with the Rev. And you will find it. And in there really, I have to be plural, are both editions. The very first, You Are Not Alone, and now this new one, the YANA 2023 edition. They're there for you. They're there to help you. So I cannot tell you how thrilled I am that we have been able to do this. And I've not been able to do this alone. As you know, my journey has been one of learning so much about technology. Back when we first started this program, Onward in Love and Caregiving, I was working with many of you from the ASEAN countries at my home in Bali, and you wanted to continue the dialogue. I did too, but I certainly didn't know how. And then Eduardo said, no, you can use Facebook Live. And I said, what's that? Brilliant as I am. And he said, Greg, you can do it. It's on and off. We can rehearse. And we did rehearse, and we're still rehearsing. But it has proved very successful because we've done over 200 broadcasts now on Onward in Love and Caregiving. And then recently, while I was doing this program, my husband's daughter came to visit us, Casey, whom I love dearly. Well, you know, these young people, she's just graduated from college in a wonderful fine arts, a wonderful artist, a singer, a dancer, and well, she certainly loved New York, and it's a wonderful place to have her here, and we were thrilled. But while we were together, I took advantage of time and said, Casey, talk to me about this, talk to me about that. In social media, things that I really didn't understand. Well, now I'm happy to say I have a social media advisor in Jakarta. So far, still in Jakarta. And she is absolutely fabulous. And thank you, Casey, because it's you who put together, and you put it together so beautifully and so artistically, the entire series. So it's just been wonderful. I thank you, and I can't wait for our next project. And you know, I'm always thinking of those sorts of things. So, folks, it's been wonderful, wonderful to share this with you today. As you can tell, I'm just so excited. I can't wait to push the button so that all of you can have the opportunity to look at slowly and carefully. I often use these tapes, particularly the beginning ones, which are What is Family Caregiving? When someone has called me and wants to talk to me about their specific family caregiving situation, I invite them to listen to these first, just a couple of them, because they get the idea, they get the words, and therefore I don't have to spend our time together explaining the pieces of family caregiving and the verbiage and the terms that we use, but I can rather concentrate on their specific issue. And as we know in caregiving, it's all the same and yet each unique. So we need certain things that ground us so that we can speak together. And it's my hope and it's my prayer that you will take this, you will use it, you will share it, and most of all, you will tell people who are caregivers, thank you, thank you. Here's something that might help you. A friend of mine did it. And remind them, just like us, you are not alone. God bless you. Thank you so much for being with me today and through these hundreds of programs. I'll see you real soon. And until then, as we always say, onward in love and caregiving. Namaste. Thank you so much. See you soon.